Welcome to Dependable Flame, where we explore vintage petrol lighters, ashtrays, tobacconana, and other useful mechanisms. Make yourself at home. Today we are going to disassemble and clear the flint tube in this vintage Ronson Adonis automatic petrol lighter. When we actuate the mechanism, we can see that there is degraded flint stuck all into the crevices of that file wheel. And also the fact that the flint spring screw is screwed all the way in and the mechanism still operates freely is a clear indication that the flint tube is obstructed with old degraded flint. So the first thing we're going to do is to remove our flint spring and screw. We're going to soak all these parts over here in some 91% isopropyl alcohol. Going to get a screwdriver here on the fulcrum cap and loosen that up. That backed out of there. And there is that fulcrum cap. Off in the alcohol. So now we're going to need something small that we can push this fulcrum screw through with. And once we've got that pushed through, then we hold our thumb up here to keep everything from coming off the top. Fulcrum cap looks clean. All these parts look really clean. I believe this is an unused lighter that just happened to degrade its flint. So now we can let all that come up and out of there. This is a little bit different mechanism from the early Adonises, where on this one the entire actuating mechanism comes off the top. We will clean that up. Got our two gears here. Dip those off in the alcohol. And snuffer looks like it's really clean and in good shape. Now we'll get our clutch spring and the file wheel all over here soaking in the alcohol. Now we're going to take one of our common household disinfectant cloths and a toothpick. I believe this is actually a small skewer that I broke the end off of, so it's more blunt. And we're going to use that to clean up this top surface. But before we do that, we might as well go ahead and spin this bit and clear out this flint tube. Okay, we are going to use this tray so that any flint dust that we may have that goes astray is hopefully going to end up into this tray rather than all over my work surface. So we'll go ahead and spin that bit. This Adonis has a straight flint tube, so we should be able to spin that with the power drill and get it to knock out a little bit quicker. And since that is being a little bit difficult, we will try this from the bottom. And that seems like it is really concreted in there. So we are going to use this punch and just give it a little tap. Okay, so that, as you can see, punched through. Nasty old flint dust. Let's get our bit again, and we will spin that bit down through. Through that flint tube. There you can see it is clear. Now, this isn't ideal for me, and I can't recall if I've ever used a punch in that manner before or not. I think that you are taking a chance that you knock your soldering loose that is holding that tube. There you can see the flint. It was just that small. We were going at it from one end and the other, and you can see where it was making a dent, but that's about it. So we will get the rest of this cleaned up, get our tray out of the way. Now, come back with our toothpick in the common household disinfectant cloth, and let's just clean up this entire top area of the lighter. Just trying to get all the dust and grime and soot and flint dust buildup. There really shouldn't be any soot in this one. I don't think it had ever been used. So that should be clean enough. Take a little canned air and blow that out. Now we will get our parts pulled out of here. We're going to use this wire brush to clean that file wheel. The rest of the parts will really just be able to be wiped off and dried off, and then they should be ready to go. So we will be back with you in a moment once we get all these parts cleaned up and dried off and are ready to reassemble this lighter. Okay, so now we have all our parts out here, cleaned up, ready to go. We have our lighter cleaned up and ready to install this mechanism back onto the top of it. Now, this is the first time that I have reassembled this Adonis when it is put together like this. Normally, it is riveted just into the body of the lighter on the older models. So this must have been one of the newer. It still says Newark, New Jersey, but that stamp definitely looks a little updated compared to the other Ronsons that I've had in the past. But it looks as though we are going to depress that spring and then fit that rivet that goes through both sides onto the hook here on the back of this mechanism. So that gets that into place. Now we will assemble our snuffer assembly. Take our clutch spring and mate that with the file wheel. You can see there that interacts with those teeth on the file wheel as it should. The cutout to the back, cutout of the clutch spring here. And we'll slide the clutch spring and file wheel into the snuffer assembly. Place our gear on the top or the front side. Turn it over. Gear on the back side. And that is in place. Whole assembly here held together. Fit together with the plunger bar and then slid down into place. Grab this pick. Got everything lined up. Fulcrum screw down and flush through to the other side. Now that we've got that all in place, we can reinstall our fulcrum cap. Try not to mar this up. And tighten that fulcrum cap down. Should be tight enough. Mechanism is spinning as it should. Trying to locate a flint over here. Drop a flint down the tube. Replace our flint spring and screw. Get that started, and before we tighten it on down, go ahead and groove our flint, moving in the proper direction. Get our flint spring screw tightened on down. excellent spark. Get our fuel screw out of here. And this is a new lighter, but part of that gasket or seal came apart as we were threading it out earlier. So you can see that a large part of that seal is still there. You can also see there where it is coming apart a little bit. In our Ronson and fill this up. And we'll just check here and see. Wick does not feel wet yet. Hopefully that has enough fuel in there without us overfilling it. Tighten our fuel screw or fill screw back up. Or I guess I could say tightening it down. Got it tightened back the way we want it. And that is how you repair a vintage Ronson Adonis petrol lighter that will not spark. Until next time.